Alright, so I've got a set of data here that I want to analyze. So I want to talk about a lot of different ways that we can organize this data before we start to try to describe it. Today we learned a couple new methods. We talked about stem and leaf plot. We talked about the 5-number summary that we used to make a box and whisker plot. We talked about how to create those. So I wanted to review that first, and then we can also review how to make a frequency table and a histogram. And we'll talk about classifying this data also, or describing it. So we'll talk about the center, the spread, the shape, and the outliers, if it has any. So the first thing I want to do is I want to start off by making a stem and leaf plot, because it's an excellent way to sort your data and get it in order. So we'll have our stem, and we'll have a leaf. So for a stem and leaf plot, you're going to look at your numbers, and you're going to look in the tens column of all your numbers. So we have some that are single digits, their tens column will be 0. We have some that are in the teens, they have a tens column of 1. I think we got some 20s, some 30s, some 40s, and I see a 150 there also. So these are our stems that we have. And then we're going to go through and find the leaves that match. So things that are single digit that have a 0 in the tens column, we have an 8, a 9, and that's all I see. So our leaves for that column will be 8 and 9. I don't think we actually need the comma, so I'm going to rewrite by 9 there. So 8 and 9. So those two are gone. Alright, then you want the ones that start with a 1. And we're trying to put these in order as we go. So we have a 5, a 6, and a 7. 15, 16, and 17 are what you're representing there. And I don't see any more, so there's that stem. So then the ones that start with a 2. Well, I have a 28, a 23, a 25, a 27, 21, and a 29. So we'll start with a 21, and then we'll move on to the 23, the 25, the 27, and the 28. Oh, and there's a 29 also. Alright, so I think that's all the 20s. So the 30s, we got a 31, a 33, another 33, and a 38. And in the 40s, we got a 41, 42, 42, a 40, and a 45. Oh, did I skip a... See, 31, 33. Oh, there's two 38s. Be really careful while you're doing this. And finally, I have a 59. So hopefully I didn't miss anything there. I can count really quick just to be sure. 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15, 7, 22. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So I have not made any silly mistakes there. That's good. So my stem and leaf plot looks like this. So what I'm going to do now is I've got all my data in this stem and leaf plot. I'm going to erase this version here because the major benefit to looking at your stem and leaf is that it's already organized pretty well for you. So the next thing I want to look at is I want to make a frequency table. I do believe. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. So let's make ourselves a frequency table up here. So we of course have classes or intervals and frequency. And so we need to know how many classes we're going to break this down into. And that's really up to us. So let's say we want to have, I don't know, 5 classes. That's probably not very many. Or in your class width, it's going to come out quite large, but that'll be okay. So we'll get a good idea of what the data looks like this way. So for 5 classes, what we're going to do is to find the width of each class. Again, you take the biggest number in your data set, which would be 59. You subtract the smallest number, which would be 8. And you divide that by the number of classes that you want. So 59 minus 8 is 51. If you divide that by 5, you get something a little over 10, maybe 10.1, I don't know. Actually, I do know it's 10.2. And then we're going to round that number up to the nearest whole number. Even if it's already a whole number, we'd round it up. So we round up to 11. So the width of each of our classes is going to be 11 units. So we want to have 5 classes altogether. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to change markers again here. So our first class is going to start at this lowest number at 8. And then each other class that's after that is going to start 11 units later. So if we add 11 to 8, we get 19. Add 11 to that, we get 30, 41, and 52. And then the next number before 19 would be 18. So our first class goes from 8 to 18. Should be 11 numbers there. 19 to 29. 30 to 40. 41 to 51. And 52 to 62. So all of these classes here should contain 11 numbers in them, hence having a width of 11. So this is our width of our class right here. Alright. So now let's add up the frequencies. So how many numbers between 8 and 18 do we have? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 numbers there. Between 19 and 29, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in that range. Between 30 and 40, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then 41 to 51, 1, 2, 3, 4. And in that last category we only have 1. So I'm gonna hold off on making the histogram for now. There's something else I want to look at for the stem and leaf before I go any further. And I want to look at the 5-number summary, which is really important when we go to make another type. So I'm kind of scattered here a little bit. I hope that's not too confusing. Maybe I should try to do less things at once. So the 5-number summary, you look at the min, the Q1, the median, the Q3, and the maximum. So finding each of these is not too bad. So to find the min, you look at the smallest number. Obviously that's 8. We said that the max was 59. So to find your median, it needs to be in order from least to greatest, and you want to find what's exactly in the middle. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the middle actually falls in between two of these numbers, which would be 28 and 29. So we'd average them and get 28 and a half as our median. So our median falls somewhere in between there. And then to get Q1, that's actually what's representing the 25% of the data. The median is of course 50%, and Q3 would be 75%. Q represents quartile, which means a fourth of the data. So the first quartile will be halfway between these sets of data here. So again, we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Looks like the first quartile will be at 21. And the third quartile would be, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. At 40. Alright. And that's really all I need my stem and leaf plot for. It's a nice way to look at the data when it's organized in order. But now I know what the frequencies are for classes. I can make a histogram. And I know my 5-number summary, so I can make a box and whisker plot. So I'm going to erase my stem and leaf here and make the other two types of graphs that I can do for statistics. So I want to first make my histogram. If I can draw a straight line, that'd be great. And around a little bit. So this side here is going to measure the frequency. Our biggest frequency is 7, so we need to make sure we got at least 7 little notches there. So I usually have to mark mine off by 5s. Of course, the bottom starts at 0. And then notice our classes don't start until 8, so we're going to draw a little symbol here. This just means that we have a break in our numbers. We don't actually start at 0, we're going to start at 8. The next class starts at 19. The next class starts at 30. The next one we start at 41, 52. Then if I had another one, it would start at 63. And I write that number down because it's going to represent the end of this class here. So it's really important that you label your axis correctly. You don't want to put 8 to 18 because then you don't know where to start the next one. So it goes 8, 19, 30, 41, 52. And then the next one would be 63. So then in this first range from 8 up to, and you really interpret this as less than 19. So from 8 to 18 we had 5 things. We draw a bar up to 5, like so. Alright, and the next one we had 7. So we continue our bar up to 7. Ideally you can draw a straight line better than I can. The next one again has 5. So notice here that these bars again are connected. You don't want them to be any spaces between them. That would not be a histogram. The next one has 4. And the last one just has 1. So then looking here at this data, again, you'd probably want to look at the mean and the median before you made any rash decisions. But it looks pretty symmetric. You might could argue that it's skewed to the right a little bit. So I think I might actually want to go with skewed to the right. So we actually know what the median is. It's about 28.5, so the median's right in there. But it looks like most of your data is actually a little higher than that. So we'd definitely say, yeah, it's probably skewed to the right. The shape here is unimodal and skewed to the right. For our center, we might want to use either the median or the mean. Either one should be okay. It doesn't have any outliers. And the spread, the range of our data, goes between 59 and 8. So the range would be 51 units. We'll talk about some other ways to measure spread tomorrow. So there's our histogram. We talked about it a little bit. The other thing you can make is a box and whisker plot. So you draw yourself an axis, kind of like just what you did for there. We're going to mark it off from 8, then maybe go by 5s. Or actually, judging from my numbers, I probably want to go by 10s. 18, 28, 38, 48, 58, and maybe a little past that. Let's say 68, 0. So then your y-axis isn't marked off because it doesn't really matter, but you do want to put a point at your minimum, right there, a point at your maximum, which is at 59, right there. Then you do lines for the other 3. So you have a line at about 21, a line at about 28.5, and a line at 40. And then we connect those to make our box, and these are our whiskers. So the better your scale is, the more you might be able to tell. If this whisker over here is longer than this one, then it's clearly going to be skewed right. They look about the same here. Maybe this one's slightly longer, so we could argue that it's slightly skewed to the right. So yeah, that's histograms. We looked at stem and leaf. This is a box and whisker plot. Box and whisker. We looked at frequency tables and the 5-number summary. This is probably the most important thing you'll need to know. 5-number summary. And you can find all of this stuff. Your calculator is actually able to graph it as well. I might show you that in another video. So I hope this was helpful. Again, if you have any questions, just let me know. I'll help you out.